One of the most pivotal, life-changing decisions that I ever made was by paying attention to a seemingly insignificant moment that most people would overlook. That moment redefined my career, improved my team, and revitalized my organization. We've been exploring the power of Kairos moments, an ancient Greek term for time. These are the significant moments in time that change our thinking beyond the ticking of the clock. It's a Kairos moment when you get your driver's license. It's a Kairos moment when you crash your car. It's a Kairos moment when someone acts with kindness towards you. It's a Kairos moment when you're ghosted by a friend. And it's a Kairos moment when someone smiles at you in the street for no particular reason. These are the moments where time stands still, where you have an opportunity to pause and reflect on life's deeper meaning. These experiences are open to us all, every day, if we are attuned and attentive to the spiritual data in our lives. So let me explain how a seemingly mundane event became a turning point in my career and offer you a practical framework to help you identify and leverage Kairos moments in your own life. So, one of the most challenging roles that I ever had was leading an organization, a non-profit, that was on the brink of collapse. I was drawn to the mission, I was drawn to the people, but the organization itself was a bit of a mess. It was in decline, it was bleeding volunteers, it was struggling financially, and there was infighting and a lack of vision. So, as a newly appointed leader, after giving it some time to listen and understand what was really going on, I came to the conclusion that I needed to rock the boat in order for us to survive. And that's never easy. I closed a few long-standing programs, I diverted a number of resources, and I moved people in and out of leadership roles based on their alignment with our founding mission. As I expected, there was a lot of pushback. Not just from volunteers, but also from the board and other leaders who were dissatisfied with some of my decisions. I mean, I was pretty inexperienced at the time, and I found it super stressful. I felt anxious, I lost sleep, and I just felt confused about whether or not I was leading in the right way. You know, a bunch of volunteers, people who were my friends, even walked out and left the organization because of me. It was an awful experience. And I knew that if things didn't improve soon, either I would lose my job or the organization would dissolve, both bad outcomes. So this is when my mentor said to me that I needed to head away for a week and think and pay attention to Kairos moments. So that's what I did. I went and hired a shack on the east coast of Tasmania with my family, and I had a bit of space to think. Now, one day as I was walking along the shore, looking at the sea, rock hopping along the boulders where I was staying, I stepped on a large rock. And to my surprise, the rock actually moved. It tilted when I put my weight on it. So normally I would have just kept walking, but because I was looking for Kairos moments, I decided to stop, make space, and pay attention to this moment in time. And I stood on that boulder for about, half an hour, shifting from side to side and just reflecting on this Kairos moment. And I used that moment to do what Mike Breen calls walking the Kairos circle, which is a concept I introduced in my last video based on the teachings of Rabbi Jesus, where we talk about recognizing a moment in time, or a Kairos, changing our mind and changing our actions in response to that experience. And this involves asking the questions, what, why, and who, then making a plan, having accountability, and leading to some type of meaningful action. Let me explain how I did it. I asked the question, what did I observe? Now, I was walking along the sea, I stepped on a large boulder, and it shifted unexpectedly. Simple. The second question is why? Why was that moment significant to me? Now, there's something about this moving rock that was a Kairos. Is there any meaning to it? And I realized that this rock was very much like the culture of the organization that I was leading, that there was a lot of resistance and it was immovable in my own strength, but that if I continued to lean in the same direction, well, eventually the culture would shift. So keep going. And I found that so incredibly encouraging. And then there's the third question, which is who? Who do I need to get input from? You know, the best decisions in life are usually communal, and it was a kind of a weird experience, me stepping on a rock and being encouraged about the way I was leading my organization, so I thought I'd share it with my leaders. So when I shared the Kairos with my team, they found it incredibly encouraging, and they added some more information to help me along the way. We agreed that none of us should give up, that we should continue leading in the same direction as a team, and that as we do so, we're going to see some type of cultural shift that will actually allow us to lead into a new and better future. So when we look at walking the Kairos circle, that's the first part. That's the metanoia experience, the part where we change our mind. So the second part of walking the circle is to shift your actions in response to your changed mindset. It's about taking your newly formed thoughts or insights and turning them into a plan, accountability, and action. So the first bit was to create a plan, and the plan was to stay on course together, to continue leaning in the same direction, and to support volunteers and give them time when they saw the vision and direction that we were heading, and to support volunteers who are energized and excited about our future. The second part was accountability, which was about being accountable to the leaders in my team to continue doing the things that we said we'd do. And the third part is the action, to continue doing the things we said we would do in response to this Kairos moment. And the great thing is, it worked. In the next 3 months, everything changed. New people joined, we achieved quick wins, donations tripled. I found myself leading a growing team of volunteers who are all on the same page, all excited about a clear vision and a clear mission, and achieving something that mattered. I mean, it was wonderful. But had I not stepped on that rock and paused to pay attention to that Kairos moment, I'm not sure I wouldn't have given up. I'm not sure that we would have continued to push in the same direction until we saw a culture shift. And this has been my experience in so many pivotal moments of my life, from finishing my first book, to applying for a TED Talk, to building 2 houses on land to create a community, to starting a podcast, or even launching this YouTube channel. You know, there's a connection in this way between paying attention to Kairos moments and productivity, because paying attention to the spiritual data in our lives can actually help us get the right things done. And in my experience, some of the most important but difficult but life-changing decisions that I've made have all been the result of Kairos moments. Life is multidimensional. As leaders, we need to invest in our financial, intellectual, physical, relational, and spiritual dimensions of our life if we are to sustain success over time. But many of the leaders that I coach neglect the spiritual component of their life to their detriment. It's not that they dismiss the spiritual component altogether, it's just that in the rub of life, while it would be nice to have a bit more of a spiritual life, leaders run out of time. They don't have time, and it's just not a priority when you're juggling career and kids and health and financial pressures. And yet I think this is an oversight. Because what we don't realize is that our spirituality and our productivity are intricately connected. You can't stay on top of your overflowing inbox and endless task list through time management alone. I mean, it doesn't work, because there's a spiritual component to life that unlocks success, sustainability, and meaning. It's all connected. I love how Oliver Burkeman in his book 4,000 Weeks suggests that we only get 4,000 weeks. That's the human lifespan if we're lucky. And we can't manage time like we manage money, for example, because we are time. According to Oliver Burkeman, every second you spend is actually a second of your life. And because humans are essentially spiritual beings, well then the management of time, which is the management of our life, must involve the spiritual dimension in some way. So it's about making space to pay attention to what's happening around us. finding connections between different aspects of life and allowing them to inform our thinking and our habits. In that way, it's less about what we do and more about who we are or who we're becoming. It's about living an integrated life from the inside out, where our leadership flows from a deeper connection with the unknown. So let's not reduce life to Chronos time, to the ticking of the clock, but enjoy a wider, more expansive experience of Kairos time, where each day holds the promise for something wondrous, awe-inspiring, purposeful, and new. Okay, so how does this relate to the way you make decisions? I mean, how does my story inform some of your story? I mean, clearly you won't have the same experiences as me, because that's the purpose of Kairos moments. I mean, they're unique, they're individualized, and they're uniquely personal. But hopefully there's something you can take away from this video. And here's what I'd recommend you do. When you come across a Kairos moment, well then walk the Kairos circle. Change your mind and change your actions by asking these 6 questions. Start with what, why, and who, followed by plan, account, action. So start with what. What happened? Describe the event in detail. The second question is why. Why did this happen? What is the meaning behind this surprising aha moment? Now, you won't find meaning in every single experience, nor should you. But if there is gold to be found, well then find the gold. And finally, who? Who can you talk to get their perspectives? Find a trusted person and process what you're thinking in order to get some clarity. So that is the first part, to change your mind. And the second is to change your actions in response to that changed mindset. Make a plan. What do you need to do differently as a result of this new insight? Be accountable. If you need, tell someone about it to kind of increase the likelihood that you'll change your behaviors. And the third one is action. Do it. Do what you say you'll do, and then look for the next Kairos moment. I mean, like any skill, this will take practice. If you are not used to perceiving the spiritual data around you or paying attention to the small moments that have significance, well, this will take practice like any other skill. But keep at it, because it's fun and life-giving, and soon you'll start to see Kairos moments everywhere. You might notice Kairos moments in a conversation with a colleague. You might see a Kairos moment in songs or movies or a good novel. You might see Kairos moments when you're paying the bills or washing the dishes or filling up your car with petrol. And there's Kairos moments when you get frustrated with your kids and then reflect afterwards about why you lost your temper. And there's Kairos moments everywhere, and this is the beautiful thing about the spiritual life. You start to gain data that actually changes the way you think and live, and that leads to a different story. So don't power through life on autopilot. Pay attention, make space, and live the Kairos life. So if you like this video, I'd love you to share your experience with me. Tell me about the Kairos moments that you experience, or where you generally see these aha moments that have meaning. I'd love to read your comments and to hear about what's connecting with you. And please, of course, I'd love you to subscribe to my channel and keep on top of new videos that come out around spiritual productivity. And then join me for my next video, where I share my story about how my wife and I relocated across the other side of the world to live in a new city based on a series of Kairos moments. But until next time, make space